What is going on, chat, man? I'm back with my boy Risk.
And today we got Rugby's greatest rivalry of brutal history.
Man, chat. Hey, this was highly anticipated and highly recommended. You know, we recently reacted to the black team and, Springfield team. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, I'm excited to get into this video, man. What you thinking, bro?
Bro, I'm not gonna lie. Rugby is brutal, bro. I'm trying to see some more, bro. These be some of the craziest athletes.
These were like the craziest teams, bro, I've seen so far. So imagine them both together playing each other.
And they're so
That's deadly. That's deadly, bro. So, hey, we gotta get straight into this video, man. If y'all new to the channel, this type of content,
make sure to like, comment, subscribe, bro.
Hey, and hit that subscribe button, man. Let's get to it, yeah.
Unstoppable force meets an immovable object.
January or gap up the middle. Here goes January. He can chase. This could be sensational. Oh, what a try!
Damn.
In rugby's equivalent to this paradox, we have an explosive clash of the titans between the unstoppable force, that's New Zealand, and the immovable object, South Africa. So join us as we go full throttle into rugby's toughest rivalry. This is Clutch Rugby.
She tackles.
Damn! Yo, who's the better team?
Oh yeah, they was feeding us a lot of good info, bro. Some people are saying South Africa is the best team, bro. I'm not gonna lie, and other people were saying New Zealand. But that's what I was seeing, but they were saying hella stuff in the comments, bro. But they also said touchdown from football came from rugby, bro. They said you have to put the ball on the floor in rugby, and that's where the touchdown from football came from, bro. So that's some new information. I never knew that.
That's some crazy new information. Yeah, okay.
13th, 1921. 100 years later, the All Blacks and the Springboks come together in Townsville, Australia, for the historic 100th Test match between the two.
Now, every sport needs a rivalry which transcends the sport and defines the legacy of those concerned. Ali needed Fraser, Federer needed Nadal, and in the case of RugbyUnion, the All Blacks and the Springboks need each other. The first meeting of these rugby superpowers occurred in 1921 at a venue which would later become known as the House of Pain.
The team has run out onto the field at Carroll's Dunedin. A record crowd of 40,000 inside the ground, thrilled with the excitement of the first test between South Africa and New Zealand.
We've had such a
New Zealand finished victorious in the inaugural test between the two nations by 13 points to 5. The first meeting formed part of a 3-match series in New Zealand. The inaugural series truly laid the groundwork for what would become a ruthless rivalry spanning across more than a century. How fitting then that in the second test in the series, South Africa
so they've been hating on each other for over 100 years, bro.
That's kind of crazy, bro. Over 100 years of just being a rivalry.
Bro,
that's like
also a super old sport.
This is like
it's way older than basketball at that point. You feel like is rugby older than basketball? I don't know. I'm just saying, bro, because like they saying that some of the teams been hating each other for years.
Rugby's definitely older than football.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because football is low key based on rugby, right? That's what they were saying. So it has to be.
Yeah.
With a hard-fought 9 points to 5 victory. Going into the final test of the series, 1 win apiece, the old foes fought tooth and nail to a 0-0 draw. The series was drawn and a fierce and ferocious feud was set in motion. Neither nation known to give an inch, the countries toured one another on several occasions and boasted a very even record between 1921 and 1992. 15 wins for the All Blacks, 19 wins for the Springboks, and 2 draws. The forefathers and pioneers of All Black and Springbok rugby emerged during the time, with iconic names donning the black jersey, such as Colin Meads, Brian Lahore, and Buck Shelford.
Again, it's blindside for Shelford. Past 3 men. Tremendous.
On the other side of the coin, Springbok legends Danny Gerber, Freak Dupreez and Nars Botha etched their name into the lore of the green and gold.
Adolf Milan took it very well there. Out to Nars Botha. And Nars Botha, another drop goal attempt. And wait for it. It looks good. It looks beautiful. It's there. Nars Botha, his 3rd drop goal.
Now, prior to 1992, a few significant instances occurred which form part of the storied history between the two greatest nations to ever do battle between the 4 white lines. Due to South Africa's apartheid regime, the Springboks were banned by the Gleneagles Agreement from international sport, and what was once a regular meeting between the two became a rare occasion. In 1981, despite the Gleneagles Agreement, South Africa toured New Zealand in what would forever be known as the Flower Bomb Test.
first half. And down on the left-hand end of the ground, there is a stoppage. Smoke bombs have been thrown onto Eden Park at the left-hand end of the field. Smoke bombs, flares, being an attempt to come onto the field.
Riots ran rampant, sparking the biggest civil disobedience protests in New Zealand history due to the political unrest caused by South Africa's policies at the time. In an attempt to halt the test match, flares and flower bombs were dropped from the sky, with All Black Gary Knight being on the receiving end. Banned from competing in the first 2 Rugby World Cups, South Africa had no other choice but to watch from afar as David Kirk led New Zealand to Rugby World Cup glory in 1987.
Damn, I didn't know it was that crazy, bro.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know it was getting this crazy. That doesn't even happen in America, bro.
This is something way different, bro.
Alongside memorable names such as Sean Fitzpatrick and Michael Jones. Following South Africa's re-emergence onto the international rugby scene, the flame was reignited for this historical rivalry, with regular meetings happening once again.
Await the national anthems, a very emotional moment for both teams.
Thanks to the influence of Nelson Mandela and his vision that sport had the power to unite, South Africa hosted the 1995 World Cup, with New Zealand being the overwhelming favourites to win the final. Donning the number 11 jersey for New Zealand would be a young 19-year-old, 6'5", 120 kilograms.
19.
You don't look 19, bro.
Bro.
Phenom, rugby's first global superstar, Jonah Lomu. Lomu lit the tournament on fire and helped usher in the professional era soon after. But South Africa would go on to do the unthinkable in a true underdog tale and extinguish the threat of the Kiwis with an extra time drop goal from fly half Joel Stransky.
Has the chance to drop the goal. Back it comes to Stransky. Up goes the kick. Stransky has kept his head. And with 2 minutes gone in the second period of extra time,
the All Blacks and the Springboks can quite easily lay claim to being the 2 greatest nations in rugby history. In fact, there's not much debate at all. Of the 10 World Cups to occur since 1987, the Springboks or the All Blacks have won 7.
Bro, I ain't gonna lie, they're one of the greatest teams.
It seems like they are one of the greatest, I'm not gonna lie.
Has held top spots in the IRB World Rugby rankings for most of its existence, and both nations hold winning records the rest of the world could only dream of. Despite their dominance over the chasing pack, the outcome between the 2 powerhouses is never a certainty. Following rugby's leap into professionalism, New Zealand and South Africa have faced one another in 64 test matches. The All Blacks hold the advantage, having won 44 tests to South Africa's 19 with 1 draw. Since the 95 World Cup, South Africa has added 3 further World Cup crowns to their tally, including back-to-back titles in 2019 and 2023. New Zealand, on the other hand, have added a further 2 titles to theirs, finally getting the monkey off their back in 2011 and going on to retain the World Cup, being the first nation to do so in 2015. A conflict of styles, every encounter includes questions of whether New Zealand's expansive and exciting running rugby
I ain't gonna lie, that's insane, bro.
and brutal approach of the Springboks and vice versa. Within the context of the battles between the teams are numerous individual rivalries that have taken place, whose tactics will come out on top. In the past, we've seen Sir Graham Henry versus Jake White, Sir Steve Hansen versus Rassie Erasmus, and going into this year's test, we have the mouth-watering encounter of Razor versus Rassie. We await to see whether it will be the Razor's breakdancing or Rassie's red lights which come out on top.
There's something special about facing the haka. I was as relaxed as anything before a game, but I used the haka to get me in the zone, you know. And my main thing was not to disappoint them. They're expecting me to come, or the box to come, flat out.
On the players' front, there have been more individual battles that one can count, and often the game lays in hands of a player being able to get over their opposite number. Will it be the late hard-hitting Jerry Collins and Richie McCaw, or the incredible Shell, the perfect 10 Dan Carter, or the ever-reliable Andre Pollard and Mornay Stain? We've had Nonu versus De Villiers, Habana versus Xavier, and Estevez versus Ritalik. Battles across the park which all play a part in the war. Each game carries with it prestige and honor, with everything being left out on the field.
Are these guys like genuinely the best international teams in rugby? just because they're a rival, are they the best of all time, though, Chad? Can you guys let me know down below? Know down below.
The blood and sweat and tears for every rugby purist to witness is the
Yo,
essence of the beautiful game we consider so
Yeah.
dear to our hearts. The green and gold versus the All Blacks has given several memorable encounters, and going into every World Cup, it's assumed whichever side can get the better of the other, should they meet, will go on to lift the trophy. This has certainly been the case in recent memory. The ABs and the Boks met in the semi-final of the 2015 World Cup, and thanks to a masterclass from two-time Player of the Year Dan Carter, the All Blacks secured the victory and went on to win the tournament against Australia.
Reggie
The last time
Carter,
these
that's
two
my
met was in the
brother.
2023 World Cup final, where South Africa narrowly won the game by 12 points to 11. The game was not shy of controversy and drama, with All Black captain Sam Cane receiving his marching orders early on. Peter Steph du Toit put in the most outstanding performance with bone-crunching tackles aplenty as he racked up an unprecedented 28 tackles during the game. In the end, the Springboks continued their trend in the 2023 World Cup of winning their knockout games by the slightest margin of 1 point. They had done so against host France in the quarters and against surprise package England in the semis. Scoreless on both fronts, Curtly Aronse's try-saving tackle and a late missed penalty from Geordie Barrett led Rags to Rich's captain, Sia Kolisi, proudly lifting the William Webb Ellis Trophy for the second time, following in the footsteps of fellow flanker Richie McCaw as the second captain to ever do so.
Okay.
They're up there with New Zealand, with Australia. You know, there's lots of teams that might do well every now and again, but you come to expect, you know, a really high level from South Africa.
I think the relationship between the All Blacks and the South Africans, it's a mutual strong respect. They're the world champions and everyone wants to chase that.
This year, we shall witness another page
Like,
in
bro,
the
this guy's
ever-evolving
moving too
story
much,
of
bro.
rugby's
Yeah,
toughest
yeah.
rivalry, when the All Blacks travel to the high-altitude cauldron of Ellis Park. So, will a new-look All Blacks, led by a new-look coaching staff, be able to stamp their authority on world rugby, or will the ever-improving Springboks continue their run of dominance? It's said that there can be no light without dark, and no yin without yang. And the same can be stated for these two titans, a rivalry which truly transcends rugby. Now, are you as passionate about rugby as we are? Well, we'd love to hear your thoughts below down in the comments
I
about
started
this
to get
rivalry.
passionate. I ain't gonna lie. I'm messing
Now
with
that we
rugby,
learning
bro.
about teams, bro, I kind of like. I
What
like
team are you?
players too, bro.
Are you Springfield?
Nah, we haven't learned enough teams, bro. To be honest, only those 2 teams are not.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Okay.
But when it comes to this player stuff, bro, like players is what like makes people attached to sports, bro. Like have that star player. So y'all gotta recommend us some like greats, bro. Some of the most athletic freaks, some of the most skilled players. You feel me? That's what we trying to see,
That's
bro.
facts. That's facts.
With that being said, bro,
you know, that's the end of the video, man. So, you know, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, man. There's 90% of you guys that aren't subscribed, man. Hit that subscribe button, man. But hey, that being said, let's get straight into it. I mean,
oh yeah,
let's end the video, man. But yeah, we'll catch y'all next time. Yes, sir.